Hello, my name is Crystal Renee Wheatley Smith. I am an attorney at law practicing in the jurisdictions of New Jersey and New York. I am here today to talk to you about issues relevant to scams and ways to protect yourselves and your family members and loved ones from those who would seek to take advantage of you. Today, we're going to focus specifically on phone scams. And our source for materials today will be none other than the Federal Bureau of Investigation's database on scams and consumer safety. We will specifically be talking about some of the things that you should be aware of and mindful of when you are answering your phone and how careful you should be about entertaining people on the phone who are claiming to be calling you for information or calling you about various or for various purposes. One of the things that many people have experienced, in my professional opinion, are telemarketers calling them, claiming to be bill collectors, are claiming to be governmental offices and divisions. And I would like to prepare you for how to deal with those calls, but more importantly, how to recognize when there is a potential scam being perpetrated upon you. We're going to talk about a number of different types of phone scams that people encounter every day. So some of the common phone scams are the debt relief, credit repair scams. We have business and investment scams, charity scams, extended warranty scams, and one of my favorites, or not so favorite, is the free trials scam. More recently, we've been seeing more law enforcement-based scams where people claim to be from a law enforcement agency, whether it be state or federal, or even the IRS or Social Security Administration, and often call and threaten that the homeowner or the person answering the phone will be arrested if they don't provide certain information. More recently, we have also received a number of calls from religious-based organizations and churches and the memberships thereof being a victim of scams relative to utility companies, stating that they're going to turn off the church's utilities or turn off an organization's, public utilities if you don't provide payment or access to certain financial information. So we want you to be very aware of these things. Sometimes the caller may contact you and say, hey, there's a prize, okay, to say that if you provide me with your card, your credit card information, there'll be a prize waiting for you behind door number 1 or door number 2. We want you to be mindful. Oftentimes, people calling you about a prize are usually trying to sell you something, and you certainly should not take that as a prize offering, because if you have to purchase something, then it's genuinely not a prize, legally speaking. Also, when you're going to be arrested, law enforcement officers, although there are times where law enforcement will call or contact you about coming down to speak with them, they will typically not call you to say that they're going to arrest you, and certainly not say that they're going to arrest you for failing to pay taxes. If it is a legitimate call, often they will ask to speak or interview you at a governmental agency or down at the police precinct. But certainly no agency will contact you to serve you with an arrest warrant over the phone. So you can feel confident that if someone is calling you, pretending usually to be a law enforcement officer, you certainly should not be paying taxes or paying a debt away in order to avoid arrest or to avoid the threat of arrest that someone is claiming to be empowered to inflict upon you on or over the phone. Okay. Now, another thing that you should be mindful of is in reference to different offers or different sales persons stating that you need to make a decision now or never. Now or never offers are typically scams. Legitimate businesses don't typically need you to rush to make a decision or to provide your personal information in order to do so. There are times where there are time-sensitive specials, but if you are unsure or uncomfortable about proceeding, a legitimate company will eventually lay off or at least be reasonable enough to put whatever offer that they have in writing. Always ask for an offer in writing, and don't be quick to provide your personal information or to provide your, certainly not your financial information, like your credit card information or things of that nature. Also, it's never a good reason to send cash or pay with a gift card or give someone access to a gift card that you have. There are oftentimes scammers that will call you saying that you need to pay for something with cash. You need to send them cash, or you need to do something with cash. That is you wiring money or purchasing a gift card to mail to them or things of that nature. That's more of an obvious one. One of the things that I think would probably be most useful for this purposes of this discussion is to focus on those scams that are not as obvious. One of those are usually with the governmental agencies and sensitive information. I want to warn you about that because it is an area ripe for all types of scamming and frauding. And we want to make sure that people are aware, particularly those in the community, that at the end of the day, governmental agencies will not call you to threaten you. Okay. Typically, you will receive notifications by mail, and it will clearly indicate that it is a governmental agency. And if you are in any types of confusion as to whether it's legitimate, you can always double check by contacting the governmental agency directly and not necessarily relying on the number or address provided on the mailer. But I would actually contact them directly by locating their information or accessing it on the governmental website. There are companies that go out of their way to make their names as closely aligned to a governmental agency, but there's usually one thing at least off about the name that makes it clear that it's not a governmental agency. You should always verify that, and you should always make it clear to the caller that you know and you are aware that they are not a governmental agency and you're not required to provide information, and end the call quickly so as not to take a chance that they may take advantage of you by trying to persuade you, even after you have informed them that you know that they are a scammer. Okay. Also, robocalling, which is another issue. I always encourage people, and I have taken advantage of this on a personal level, to register with the National Do Not Call Registry, which if you go onto the Federal Bureau of Investigation website, they have a consumer fraud section. You can find this registry and you can simply sign up to make sure that you are removed from any robo-dialing or potential scammers situation by removing yourself from the database and allowing those folks to know that want to cold call, so to speak, that you are not interested in what they might be selling. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not still going to receive the calls, but that also means now that they may be in violation of the law if they continue to try to call you when you are no longer on that list. Okay, and you have certain rights in that respect, and you should feel free to reach out to your state and federal authorities that can assist you with determining what your recourse may be in those situations. Another thing that I would like to bring your attention to is the charity scam. We also find that oftentimes you will have people claiming to be from a non-for-profit or claiming to be from a church organization or another governmental or quasi-governmental fundraising effort, and they'll be calling around asking for donations. I would strongly urge you to check out these organizations before you give them one red cent, because even though they may be only asking for $20 or $10 or a smaller amount, these monies add up, and it would be a travesty to reward their scamming and illegal conduct with any monetary reward. So I would strongly urge you to verify that they are in fact a charitable organization, and there are links on the FBI's website to check these things out. You also have the ability to check out certain organizations through your state governing bodies. But one of the things that I encourage is to go onto the FBI's website to see if that organization is in fact a registered nonprofit organization. And you can check that out before giving any money to them on the phone. The extended warranty, the car warranty. Oh, we all receive those calls, right? They're very annoying, and they're always asking you if you'd like to extend your car warranty. Well, I've had at least 2 clients that they thought they were extending their car warranty, and they weren't. What they were doing is participating in a scam. They were victims of scams, and once the perpetrators were able to gain access to their financial information, they were able to abscond with money, even more money than the client had originally authorized them to deduct from their credit card, debit cards, or other sources of funding. But I always say to people, a lot of times when you're being contacted about extended warranties with a company that you don't already do business with, they're extremely overpriced. Even if they're not a scam, they're extremely overpriced. So I would strongly urge you to pay close attention to those companies as well. Again, they may not be a scam or part of a scamming operation, but that doesn't mean that that it is in your best interest to sign up with them or to provide them with your financial information. Now, free trials. Here's another one. Free trials, it sounds like it's so great. Usually anything that is free is typically should be an indication that you should be on alert. Again, I'm not saying that a free trial is a scam in and of itself. However, I do find from a professional as well as a personal perspective that oftentimes that they're too good to be true. So you end up paying something anyway to get something for free. A real free trial shouldn't cost you anything. And if you're not happy with it, or you tried it and you don't want to be bothered with paying for it, you should be able to cancel that before the end of the trial and not be charged anything if it's genuinely a free trial. So be careful with those. I've had a lot of senior and mature clients that were taken advantage of for large sums of money because what was said to be free was, in point of fact, a very costly experiment for the client after the trial period ended. So you should definitely be watching out for that. Prizes, again, that kind of goes along the line of different types of trials. Okay, the last one that we are going to discuss will be the travel scam and timeshare scams. Now, not to say that all travel types of calls that you get, sometimes you do get calls from reputable traveling agencies or companies that are connected to, let's say, Hilton, or connected to certain types of companies. I am not saying, and I want to be clear, that all of those are scams. What I am saying is that you should be mindful of what you're signing up for. Okay, you should be checking and being very diligent consumers. Be an informed consumer. An informed consumer is rarely, if ever, a victim of these types of crimes. Timeshares and travel opportunities can be a wonderful thing if you go into them with a fully and complete understanding of what you're getting into. You know what the relative fees involved are. You know the terms. You're clear on what the terms of the plans that you are choosing are, and more importantly, you understand what that means for you financially, and you've already done an assessment as to the affordability of those plans. Now, I would strongly urge you to also always verify any business opportunity that you are signing up for. If it's something that they absolutely have to have you sign up for that day, then oftentimes it's usually not a good idea if you can't verify it. Okay, it's not worth the special or the deal if you are not being given opportunity to verify the legitimacy of those companies or those offers. Always ask, again, as I mentioned earlier, to have those offers in writing. Okay, a legitimate business doesn't have a problem providing you with offers in writing. Okay, always remember that. Okay, now, what do you do if you've already paid a scammer? Now, I mean, sometimes, we've all had situations where, it happens. They caught us off guard. They caught us in between a TV commercial on TV. They caught us in between, a time where we just weren't paying attention. And okay, so now you've been defrauded and now you've been scammed. What next? Okay, so you've been defrauded. You've sent money through Western Union. You've sent money through MoneyGram. Now, when we start talking about and speaking about wire fraud, we have seen that even in religious organizations, when you are a member of an organization and somehow, some way, someone else who knows a member or someone affiliated or someone who might be affiliated. Okay. And we, of course, don't ever want to think of our brothers and sisters in Christ in that capacity. However, sometimes that occurs. I want you to be mindful if you have paid by virtue of MoneyGram or Western Union, there are remedies that may be available to you. You should contact them immediately upon finding out that you have been defrauded and let them know that you have been a victim of fraud and you'd like to follow through with the procedures of reporting it. Okay, they have 1-800 numbers, and you can even go online and initiate your reporting online. Okay, it is very, very important for you to follow up as soon as you notice that there could be a scam, because the longer you wait, the more difficult it is at times to provide you with the type of recourse that could really benefit you in trying to assist you with these fraudulent activities. There are times where your money can be recoverable in whole or in part, or there are times where they can't be. But the sooner you do it, the better. I would strongly urge you to do that. Also, there are lots of money transfer apps. You should be very careful with those because some of them do not have a mechanism in place whereby you may obtain a refund. Once you've transferred those funds through many of the apps, there is Cash App, there is Zelle, there is Venmo, there are a number of them, PayPal, and many of them do not have a mechanism in place for you to receive a refund. Now, some of them do. You would have to check with those specific providers. Many of them nowadays tell you when you are submitting a payment, they add an additional step so that you can confirm that you are well aware of what you are doing and that you may not be able to obtain a refund in the event that you've mistakenly paid an individual or realize that you were frauded. So please, ma'am, and please, sir, be mindful when using these different payment apps that you, A, know who you're sending it to, and B, you're sending them the correct amount, okay? So that you won't be a victim of a scammer, okay? If you've paid by credit card or debit card, there are certain remedies very specific to those companies and those banks, and you should follow up with the provider of those cards immediately upon, again, discovering that you've been a victim of those fraudulent activities. I hope today that you've learned something about avoiding being a victim of fraud, and more particular, a victim of scammers, because ultimately we want to be great stewards and stewardesses of our finances, and we want to be in control over what we do with our money and our personal identifying information. So I hope you have learned something for today, and I look forward to speaking to you all again. Enjoy your day.